Hey folks, today we're going to find out what time it is by taking a look at this Takara Kronoform Pre-Transformers robot watch. So stick around for more. Hey guys, I'm here from Transformers and Video Games, and welcome back to the channel. As I mentioned in my intro, today we're going to be taking a look at my Takara Kronoform Pre-Transformers robot watch. Now for any of you who aren't familiar with the term pre-Transformers, here's what I'm referring to. Before the Transformers that we all know and love were brought to North America and other parts of the world by Hasbro under the Transformers branding back in 1984, many of the early G1 figures existed in various other toy lines in Japan, such as Diaclone and Microchange. A great example of this would be the original Black Megatron, which is the same design as the regular Megatron that we got here in North America, only it was released by Takara earlier in Japan under the Microchange line of toys, with a different name, packaging, accessories, and in this particular case, a very different looking color scheme. I'm going to go ahead and leave a link to my review of this Megatron in the description for anyone who's interested in checking it out. Now that we've got that taken care of, let's take a look at this robot watch that was produced by Takara back in 1983 under the Kronoform branding. These pre-Transformers toys were simply marketed as everyday items that happen to transform into a robot. In this particular case, they refer to the watch as a robot time machine that transforms. As you can see from the price tag, this was sold at Toys R Us back in the day for only $12.93. Now, one thing that I do love about this packaging is the very large and absolutely beautiful artwork. For such a simple figure, they've really brought it to life with this amazing illustration. Back in the 80s, I had a robot watch similar to this one, but it wasn't produced by Takara, and it was honestly a step down in overall quality. Another thing that I appreciate about this packaging is the simplified transformation sequence that they show in the bottom left corner that later showed up in the early G1 packaging. Now we'll take a look at the back side of the packaging. At the top it says, "This is the world of Kronoform, the robot time machine that transforms into an interstellar launcher, a galactic rover, a battle station, a solar creature, an orbital interceptor, a lunar shuttle, and a cosmic cruiser." Now, as you can see, these extra modes are for the most part pretty weak and just involve the figure standing on its head, raising its arms, spreading its legs, or using the watch band in one way or another for fairly unsuccessful bonus modes. So for today's review, we're just going to concentrate on the two main configurations, which are the watch mode and the robot mode. If you're interested in a possible follow-up video showing these other modes, let me know in the comments section. There were no Autobot or Decepticon factions back in the pre-Transformers days, but let me know in the comments, if this was released under the Transformers branding, do you think that this figure would have been an Autobot or a Decepticon? On the bottom left corner of the packaging, we have the manufacturer's information. It says Takara, 1983, made in Taiwan for Takara Toys Corp. Here we are with the watch out of the box, and as you can see, it's about as basic a design as you can possibly have when it comes to a transforming robot watch. The band is made out of rubber, which can dry out and crack over the years, so if you're looking for one on the secondary market, make sure you inspect the band closely before purchasing it. Mine is an official Takara version, so I'm going to show you a close-up of it to use as a reference point if you're looking to track one down for yourself. The front side of the band does have a pattern on it, which is different from the knockoff version, so pay close attention to the details. Here's a look at the back side of the band. On the top, it says Made in Taiwan, which is consistent with what the manufacturer's information indicates on the back of the box. But most importantly, the key to making sure that you're getting an authentic Takara watch band is to look for the copyright Takara 1984 branding on the back of the watch base. In order to remove the figure from the plastic base that attaches it to the watch band, simply press the two buttons at the sides of the watch at the same time to release the figure. Here's a closer look at what's happening here. You can see that when you squeeze the buttons together, the teeth on the left and right side of the gap open up so that the watch can be easily removed from the base. Now let's take a closer look at the watch itself. The LCD screen is tiny, and just above it is the word Takara, and underneath it says Kronoform. If it says quartz instead of Takara, then it's not an official version, which is totally fine, but I just want to help you to understand what you're looking at. Unfortunately, the battery died years ago, so we won't be taking a look at any of the watch functions, but we know based on the details on the back of the packaging that the functions are very basic and that they're controlled by the red and the blue buttons on the face of the watch. On the back of the watch, you can see that the figure has visible head syndrome when it's not attached to the watch band, and engraved in the back are the words Takara Co. Limited, 1983. Also on the back, you can see the connection point where the watch will attach to the base of the watch band. Despite the beautiful shiny appearance, I should point out that the body of the watch is made out of chromed plastic as opposed to stainless steel, but at a glance, considering how nice the chrome looks after all these years, it could probably pass for metal, although once it's in hand, the light weight of the watch would give it away immediately. Now we'll get into the transformation. Start off by rotating the bottom section of the watch around 90 degrees to release the figure's lower leg, then pull it down to release the upper portion of the leg. Now do the same thing on the other side of the figure. Now you can straighten the legs out a little bit if you like. Then turn the top section 180 degrees to reveal the figure's head. Then rotate the left arm up at the shoulder to reveal the slider on the back of the wrist. From here, slide out the fist. Then do the same thing on the figure's right arm. Then just put the arms in whatever position you want. And that's it for the transformation. Again, it's about as simple as it gets for an 80s transforming robot. When it comes to the figure's articulation, the head will rotate a full 360 degrees. And the arms will also rotate 360 degrees at the shoulder, but there's no elbow or wrist articulation. The legs will kick out at the hips 90 degrees for a perfect side kick. And it technically has knee bend sideways up to 180 degrees if you wanted to tuck the leg back into the watch mode position, but you generally wouldn't go past the 90-degree point for this figure when it comes to meaningful articulation. For a small 80s figure, it actually has some pretty decent articulation. Here's a quick look at the figure in robot mode. For someone like me who really likes chromed plastic parts and accessories on his Transformers, this figure is pretty much a dream come true. Literally the entire figure except for the thighs, the fists, and the head are done in a beautiful shiny silver chromed plastic. Speaking of the head, the face sculpt is honestly pretty weak, but at least it's painted, and if you look closely there are some faint details of a visor, a nose, and a mouth. The only metal parts on the outside of this figure are the two metal rivets that connect the legs together at the knee joint, and a few metal screws on the back of the figure to hold the watch casing together. There's nothing really noteworthy to mention about the backside of the figure, but again I do love how that silver shiny chrome catches the light. It's such a shame that they don't use chrome on retail Transformers any longer. Historically, chrome is still used on Masterpiece Transformers, but due to the overwhelming fan interest and a more cartoon look for their figures, the use of chrome has petered off somewhat in recent years. Okay guys, here we are with the figure back in its watch mode, and I think I'm going to leave it at that for today. In conclusion, would I recommend picking up a Takara Kronoform watch and adding it to your collection? Well, that depends entirely on the type of collector that you are. If you want some sort of representation of a Transformers watch in your collection, but don't want to spend a small fortune on it, then you would probably do just fine with one of the unofficial versions of the figure. Just be warned that not all Transformers watches were created equal, and in many cases, the off-brand versions can vary significantly in quality, and in every case that I've come across, they're much lower quality than the official Takara versions. If you do like official figures, and you're patient enough to keep an eye out for a good price, then I'd say go ahead and invest in an official Takara figure. I generally see loose specimens go for anywhere between $60 to $100, and box specimens go up significantly from there. The watch and the robot modes are pretty simple in design, but I quite honestly think that they're still very effective, and I know that when I was a kid, I really enjoyed playing with the one that I had. If you want to check out another one of my Transformers watch reviews, I'm going to go ahead and leave a link in the description for my pre-Transformers Black Microchange MC06 watch. Be sure to check it out, leave me a like, And more importantly, leave me a comment since I really enjoy interacting with my viewers. Anyways, thank you very much for watching, everyone. Take care.